Friends, thanks for joining today. It's another Wednesday. Can you believe it? We're doing another quick live. And today's going to be really, really fun. I'm actually really excited to talk to you guys today because not only am I going to give you some great tips to go ahead and start closing a lot more clients, but I'm also going to be talking about a free workshop that I have coming up next week. It's called Sales for Introverts. I would love for you to be there. If you've been enjoying these lives and you've been getting lots of great information from it and you're looking to get a lot more help kind of finding the right clients, closing the right clients, then you need to be in the workshop because the only way to get the Zoom link is to go ahead and be on the wait list. So I hope you guys join me for that. Um, hey, Miguel, good to see you. Stephanie, good to see you. Tell me where you guys are joining from. I would love to hear that. Hey, Audra, good to see you, girl. Always good to have you here. So thanks for joining me again. Today we're going to be talking about how to get to like a 90% close rate. So currently right now, that is kind of where I'm at I can close 90% of the clients. And I want to take you back a little bit first to what was going on before I was able to get to this point. Hey, Charlie girl, good to see you. Good to have you here. Tell me where you guys are coming in from. I know we've got Florida in the house. So tell me what other places you guys are calling in from today. Hey, Aileen, good to see you. Um, so we're talking about how to increase that close rate and, ideally to 90%. And so when I first started, one of the things that I was so excited about, and maybe this happens to you, is just when the phone rings and someone says they have a project. You get so incredibly excited. And of course, even to this day, when a new project comes along, I'm totally excited and you get like really jazzed to get to that creative process, right? But what was happening was I couldn't wait to get off the phone with them and go out and see the project. And what was happening is I was rushing through the qualification process, going to meet them on site, providing a proposal, and then I wasn't getting the job. He was either getting ghosted, so no answer, or no, we've decided to go to another direction. So the reason I'm telling you this is that this is what happens with a lot of designers as well, is that we are moving them too fast through the process because we're totally excited to start the project. So one thing I just want to let you guys know, if you want to start closing more jobs, if you want to start getting to 5-figure design fees, you need to be joining the Sales for Introverts workshop. It's coming up next Thursday, the 25th, and it will be at 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern. We're going to spend a couple hours together, so, block some time out on your calendar because we're really going to be diving into how to get better at closing clients. I'm going to be giving you actually things that you can say during that process to get you a lot more information from the client to know if they're a good fit. So be sure to do that. The waitlist information is in all the links below. So check it out. So the thing that we need to do to get to a higher close rate and to stop wasting so much time putting proposals out there that never turn into anything is we need to get better at qualifying clients. And if you want to be going from, actually went back and looked at where my fees were about, let's say, 15 years ago or so. I mean, I was charging incredibly low fees, $500 for 2,500 square feet. I mean, it was insane, the type of things that I was providing as like design services for so much time. So if you want to be increasing your fees, so if you want to be going from, say, $500 or $1,000 to $5,000, $10,000, $20,000, we need to be getting better at A, qualifying our clients, and B, we need to be in an environment where we understand that we're not charging enough. So we need to be surrounded by people who are helping us, who are coaching us, who are encouraging us to get those fees up. I wish I had somebody like that when I first started and was charging ridiculously low fees, because they would have told me to change it and they would have given me the tool that I needed to feel really good about it and not be scared. Because I know so many of you are scared to send those proposals out because you really, really want the job. So we have to get better at qualifying clients. And I think that there are three key components to this. So Audra says, it makes me feel better to hear where you started with your fees 15 years ago. Yes. So that is one of the things, like, you guys, for sure. Having someone in your corner giving you thought as to what is reasonable for what you're doing and what you're charging, and encouraging you to change your fee structure, and also helping you with the tool to understand, not that you don't understand what you're worth, but to accurately describe this to a client, to present this to a client, to show them why the fees are what they are. That is invaluable. I mean, that's going to help you save so much time. I mean, I wasted, I'm going to say, at least 7 years, in a situation. And at some point, I'll talk to you about what happened when I got my first 5-figure design fee, how that came about. And honestly, it was a fluke. And tell you the honest truth, when I sent that proposal off, I think I threw up afterwards. I was just freaking out. So I totally get where it's so hard to send maybe the biggest fee that you've ever done. It's really, really nerve-wracking. So it helps to have somebody in your corner. So I think, to get back to it, there are three key components that I think you need to be looking at when you are assessing an opportunity. And that's one thing that's definitely a key word, is that I want you to be assessing every opportunity and thinking in your mind, this may or may not be a good opportunity for me. I think what happened is we're like, we'll take them all. They're all great. Anything that gets me money is an awesome opportunity. And it is to a point. And as you start to learn, there are certain things that aren't worth maybe the trade-off. Like, some of you are relatively new and you're growing your portfolio, or you're trying to, kind of get the ball rolling. So you have to, have clients to get clients. And I totally understand all of that. But sometimes just taking jobs to take jobs turns out to be a lot more than you bargained for. And it distracts you from the goal of getting better jobs and understanding where you're coming from. So, Audra says, I can't wait to not, you want to say you can't wait to send a throw fee? Girl, we're getting you there. We're going to get you there. No problem. We will make you feel sick before you know it. Sending those big old design fees. I love it. I love it. So the first step in the process is that you need to be thinking about a multi-step process to interviewing clients. So that's my, number one of the three things that you need to be doing to start closing a lot more jobs. So the multi-step process that I have in my business is that there's of course, the initial contact. And so I've been recommended by somebody. Then I do a referral info call, which means I contact the referral source and do a little reconnaissance on the backstory. How did this client come to the referral source? What were the conversations? What happened there? What are their impressions? What are their thoughts? It gives me a lot of information, again, to also craft the message that we're going to have when I have that initial phone interview. So you get the initial contact, then we do that referral reconnaissance mission where you're trying to find out what's the backstory here? Where did this all come about? And you're going to get a lot of information, like, oh, maybe they've been dealing with another designer, or maybe they've been, kind of thinking about this project for a long time, or maybe they've been a client of this referral source for many, many years, and they are incredible people, or, just all that information is so, so incredibly helpful to you. So I do that. Then we do the phone interview, which I ask a series of questions. And again, you guys want to know the types of questions I ask and the things that I look for when I'm interviewing a potential client for a job, then you need to be in the Sales for Introverts training. So go ahead and make sure that you're putting this on your calendar for next week. Then I actually do some pre-meeting info where I send them a whole bunch of information about how I work, why I do things a certain way. I answer a bunch of questions that are going on. So I'm doing a lot of education before I actually go on site. Then I do an actual on-site meeting. And again, all the time I'm thinking, I'm looking, I'm listening to certain things that they're saying to me, certain words that they're using, phrases, how husband and wife interact with each other, because I do have a lot of that as well. It's all married couples. So I want to see how they're interacting with each other, how they're talking to one another. It's all very, very enlightening. And only after all of that, I go ahead and send the proposal. So I have a multi-step process to what's going on when I'm actually interviewing a client. And my girl Jen's here. Hey, Jen, thanks for being here, girl. Appreciate the support. So when you're interviewing a client, it's not just a one and done, a 10-minute meeting or a 10-minute phone call, and then you shoot off a proposal. So I want you to be thinking about multiple touches with this client so you can gather information and also your referral sources, because I know most of you guys are getting many of your jobs, if not all of them, from a referral source. So once I started implementing this process of this multi-step interview, I started really moving that closing rate much closer to the 90%. So I'm spending a lot of time talking to them, a lot of time educating. I'm listening to what they're doing. I'm looking at their body language. So incredibly important. So again, if you guys want to know about this, be sure to be at the workshop next Thursday. The first item in the step is the interview process, right? Multiple steps. Second part of the process is you need to think about what is a good opportunity for you and what is not. So you have to be going back and thinking about situations where maybe you didn't get the job, or maybe you had a client that was really difficult. Think about what happened during that process. What was it? Did they say something? Did they do something? Any little bit of information that you can start to pick up on is so, and again, incredibly important. I'm going to first also caveat this by, I don't think that budget is a straight up disqualification for interviewing clients. I will tell you that I had a situation where I was referred to somebody and they said, the referral source says they only need a built-in. That's what they're looking for. It happened to be in an area that I'm doing a lot of work. So, it was a great fit for me because I do a lot of work in this one community. So I decided, what the heck? So I went to meet with them, and lo and behold, it wasn't just one built-in. It was multiple rooms. And the thing that made me want to move forward with them, one was that, of course, the project was bigger than they had originally, the referral source had told me, but they were executive. So these people own a business. They make quick decisions. They believe in hiring experts. Like all the green flags were going. And so since then, we're on our second project with them. They've spent over $200,000, and there's more work to be done. So please just think about, I don't want you to just initially disqualify somebody based on some number that they picked on your website, because sometimes it's not all the information, things change. So do your due diligence and don't just automatically disqualify that. So going back to recognizing what I think is a great opportunity for you. Hey, Tracy, good to see you, girl. Thanks for being here. Is that you don't want to be wasting your time going through these things. That's why I know so many of you charge for that initial consultation, is because you're going out to a lot of opportunities and they're not turning into jobs. So if you can be better at qualifying them, and again, if charging for that initial fee worked for you and it's helpful, I get it. I don't do that here because I also know that I know my client base really, really well. And I don't treat it like a consultation. I treat it like a sales call. So that's how I do it in my own business. But one of the other things, and when you're recognizing what's a good opportunity for you, what's not a good opportunity for you, is you have to know like some things in your mind ahead of time. What are you willing to work for? Do you have a minimum fee? Many of you don't. I think you should. So if your minimum fee is, say, let's just say your minimum design fee is $1,500. If it's one tiny little area, then they pay the minimum design fee, because I call it the what gets you out of bed in the morning, right? So you have to be thinking about that. Is it $500? Is it $1,500? Is it $5,000? What is the minimum fee that you would be willing to take on a project of any size? And you don't adjust if the project is smaller than you would normally charge to say our minimum fee is. So I want you to be thinking about that, because that's a great way to start understanding what projects are good for you and where clients sit and all of that. The other thing is you need to be able to be talking about like what things cost. If you keep getting that question like, well, about how much is this going to be, or how much is furniture going to be, or whatever, and you can't answer that, you need to be able to answer it, because that's a question that your clients keep asking over and over. You can definitely go back and look at past projects. If you're in my group, I can give you my low, medium, and high budget items for furniture so that you can know that a living room goes from X to Y. And it just makes you look much more confident. And they also know that that's the way it is. Like this, you know exactly what you need to be at. You know what numbers cost. You know that you can't do a full-blown living room for $5,000. Again, it's qualifying these clients. So you want to be thinking about that. So you're going to be answering questions that keep coming up, and you need to be knowing in your mind, where is your point of like sort of no return, where you're like, I cannot possibly do it for that because I know that I can't do it for that. So again, what's your minimum? What are your minimum fees? Maybe minimum room. But again, if you have a minimum fee, then you don't do anything for less than $1,500. It doesn't matter how small the area is. So I want you to be thinking about that. So it could be fee, it could be number of rooms, it could be locations. So you need to know this information so you know when you're at the point of no return, like when it's supposed to be a no. So that's going to get us into the third item. So we've done two things. I have three things that you need to be doing. One is you need to have a multi-step interview. Two, you need to recognize what is and is not a good opportunity for you. Do this when you have a clear head. Do this when you don't have somebody on the phone talking to you about an opportunity, because we all cave because we get excited. So again, do this in a bubble. So I definitely want you to be thinking about that. Again, in the Sales for Introverts workshop, we're going to be touching on this and then actually implementing this in the subsequent membership. So you definitely want to be there next Thursday. So the third item that I want you to be making sure that you're doing is you're going to ask or decline. So many of you hate to say no. We're going to start with that one. And so many of you have told me, I just throw a number. I don't want the job, but I just throw a big old number out there in the hopes that they don't sign up. Y'all need to stop doing that. Just put on the big girl pants and say, hey, if I think it's a good fit, I will let you know. If I think that it's not a good fit, I will let you know. Again, I have a script for this part, for the saying no part of the project, declining the project in a professional way. So I will definitely be giving back to you guys. But throwing a high number out there just in the hopes that they don't sign is really not good for anyone, because if you were to get the job, then you spend the entire time being upset and not wanting to do it and then you don't do your best work and you've now taken on a client that's not your best fit. So say no if you need to. And if yes, if you want the job, show your excitement, answer any final questions they have. Tell them how to get started. What is the mechanism that will now book their slot on your calendar and your time zone? So I want you to be thinking about that. And here's a key phrase that I want you to use when you're at this point where you want this job. You've told them how the next step's going to work, and you're going to say to them, have I provided you all the information you need to make this decision? And that will really put the ball in their court, saying, if there's anything else you need from me, I am happy to provide that information. So if you do these three things, you're going to increase your close rate dramatically. So multi-step interview process, know what is and is not a good fit for you, and then ask or decline the opportunity. So you're going to turn into closing more projects, and the projects are going to get to be a much higher quality. Your close rate is going to go up. And I want to talk to you guys about being at the Sales for Introverts training. It's a free workshop that we're doing next week on the 25th. It's going to be at 9 a.m. Pacific or 12 p.m. Eastern. I would love to see you guys there. We're going to be going over a lot of language and things like that. And one of the things that I want you to do for me is, why don't you send along some of your sales frustration, like the last job that you didn't get? Go ahead and send that to me. Tell me what happened. Tell me what's going on, because what we're going to do is we're going to live workshop some answers for you while we're in the session, which is on the 25th. And I'm going to help you with language, and we're going to talk through that so that you and other people on the call can get the benefit of that experience. And I would love to have multiple scenarios from you guys on either something that went wrong, a job that you didn't get, maybe your last opportunity that fell through. I would love to hear about that. And thanks so much for joining me today, guys. I hope this has helped you learn and know the steps to qualifying clients so much better so that we can get you close to that 90%. So I hope that helped you out today. And be sure to sign up for Sales for Introverts. It's coming next Thursday. And I will see you guys soon, okay? Take care. Bye-bye.